If you've never been to Vietnam, you've probably seen all these clickbait live like a king for $500 a month videos. Let's be honest, I've made a few of them on this very channel. But today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to show you my exact monthly budget breakdown for how much it actually costs to live in Vietnam and in Ho Chi Minh City in 2025. And I'm going to do a direct comparison to how much it was actually costing me to live in Vietnam when I first arrived here 6 years ago in 2019. So let's go back in time and jump into it. Back in 2019, when I first arrived in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, I was living that classic teacher, backpacker, nomadic style life. I landed in a homestay in Cho Lan, the old Chinatown district. It was beautiful, it was romantic, it was sort of everything I wanted. There was traffic everywhere and smoke and street food and, all those things that make you think Vietnam when you think sort of stereotypical East, Southeast Asia travel. I loved it. And it was under $1,000 a month. Most months, I was probably living on about $800. On a good month, it might even be $600 if I didn't travel or do anything. Did I have way too many 10,000 dong bias on Boy Vien Walking Street? Yeah, I definitely did. I had some kick-ass hangovers for sure. I was also eating 25,000 dong com tam all the time. Fried eggs, grilled pork chops, sticky rice, all that yummy stuff. So high in the calories and probably a little unhealthy for the arteries? Sure, whatever. Did I smash cafe suiras that cost 40 cents all the time? Yeah, I loved it. I would just sit there on the streets, drinking the 40-cent coffee, eating my 50-cent banh mi, living the life. I bought a motorbike for a few $100 and ripped around the city on it. It was great. The times were good, my friend. COVID hit, the economy changed, and unfortunately, I sort of grew up. Fast forward to now, 2025, and I had a place in Phu My Hung, District 7, probably the richest neighborhood in all of Vietnam, certainly one of the most beautiful. I've got a wife, I've got 2 kids, I even kind of had a car right down the block from my job where I'm putting in 9 to 5 hours and basically just living the rat race, but over here in Vietnam. That said, it's a gorgeous area. The park has a koi pond, it's ducks, it's off leash with your dogs, kids and strollers, every kind of cafe, luxury, amenity, spa, Italian restaurant, you name it, you can find it in Phu My Hung, but you're gonna pay for it. When I got here at first, 2019, about 6 million dong for rent. So I was paying about 200,000 K a day, which is about $8 US a day for my room and board. I had a private room, a bathroom. I shared a kitchen and some other facilities with people, but I kind of liked it, right? I had no social life then other than work. I didn't know anyone here, and it was a chance to talk to the people who worked at that homestay. It was just in a big old school hem house in Chinatown. I forget what it's called, the home something. And it was quite homely. It was nice. There's a communal sort of social area where I chatted, made friends. I'd work there on my laptop after I finished my job. And honestly, I was making 4 times at work what I was paying. So I was able to save a huge amount of money and do a huge amount of travel. So that first place was right off Huyn Chai in District 5, Cho Lan. It was like a kilometer from Ben Tan Market, not far from Boy Vien Walking Street, a hop, skip, and a jump from Huyn Hui, or sort of the cool neighborhood in Pham Viet Chan. And it was just like a great solo traveler, backpacker lifestyle. I loved it. The place was fully serviced too. So if I left my room in the morning and the bed was trashed and there were dishes in the sink or whatever, I'd come back at night, spotless, hospital corners, perfectly clean bed. I mean, it's just like having an imaginary mom. There were even Vietnamese aunties cooking in the kitchen all the time, so I could pick up a little bit of language exchange with them and eat their delicious food. And I think to buy a meal at the homestay, it was maybe 20K or 80 cents. It was incredible. It was just a great time to be alive and in Ho Chi Minh. After 5 years in the city and all these life changes, when I first moved to Phu My Hung and specifically to the Cang Bien area, a lot had changed. We rented a 3-bedroom condo. We paid $1,200 US a month for it. Had 2 full bathrooms, a gorgeous bathtub. It had 2 terraces, a view out the front, and a view out the back, one in our bedroom. It was pretty sweet, I'm not gonna lie. We had a gas range in the kitchen. The place had a ton of amenities. There were 2 pools, there was a gym. I mean, there's just about everything you could imagine in these beautiful new condos. And on top of that, there's private security, it's safe for your children, and you got some distance between the smog and motorbike traffic of the city. Because to be honest, it's kind of like suburban highway living out here. And well, why was I there? Because I kind of turned into a suburban guy after 5 years in Vietnam. I was a family man and living right down the street from my job at a very expensive international school. It almost seems like a joke to talk about the food costs I had when I first got here in 2019. I'm going to do it for you anyways, but Vietnam is an absolute street food heaven, and Chinatown in Saigon, like bang for your buck style, might be the best street food eating, like other than Bangkok in Southeast Asia. I'm sure if you're a fan of Best Ever Food Review Show and you've seen Sunnyside go do these videos, like $1 meals abound. You can eat anything. Com tam, pho, bun cha, I mean, you name it. Crab, like bangkang soup, amazing. Bun siu soup, like there's so many different variations and foods you can get for under $1. It's a time and a place. And if you're young and you're looking for that chaotic, fun, exciting, thrilling experience, the adrenaline pumping through your veins, maybe in District 5 or in District 3 or District 4, you can still live for, $800 a month. But honestly, my life's changed so much. That's not how much I actually spend to live well in Ho Chi Minh City in 2025. But by last spring, let's be honest, I was barely eating out anymore. It's a pain in the ass to get out of the house with kids. We're scared to put them on the motorcycles, so we're using car seats and hiring 7-seater grabs, and basically we just ended up cooking at home a lot more often. Kids are also super picky eaters. And on top of that, the novelty of eating greasy, fried, and, on the street noodles that might make you sick every once in a while, it had kind of worn off. Not to say I didn't still enjoy a banh mi or a pho, but it was the local District 7 banh mi and pho. And in District 7, a banh mi is going to cost you $3-4. I mean, it's cheaper than Subway, but not by much. And a great bowl of pho, easily $4 or $5 US. If you're going international food, well, all of a sudden we're talking $30 to $60 US at least for a meal for a family of 4. And if it's like our date night once a month, my wife and I are spending $100 USD, no problem, just for a couple glasses, not even for a bottle of wine. So do we save money buying groceries? Sort of, but we ended up shopping a lot at Latte Mart and the Korean stores and the sort of big supermarket style grocers that aren't really affordable the way a wet market is. So our grocery costs were easily $100 to $150 US a week. It's starting to add up, no doubt. And as beautiful as my local cafe was in Con Vien, it was also like more than $3 US for a cappuccino. And, let's be honest, you're not going there for a cafe suada or the sort of street side experience. And yes, even in the beautiful suburbs, motorcycles and grab drivers still drive on the fucking sidewalk. I'll bleep that because this is a family video. Yeah, bikes everywhere, noise everywhere, still in Vietnam. This all really seems silly to me now because it's also just so far removed from the kind of lifestyle that I'm now living as a 40-something with a family here. But in 2019, my transportation costs were just super simple. I rented a bike for $40 a month, maybe add another $10 for sort of like maintenance or whatever, fixing a tire, that kind of thing. So we'll say $50 a month for the bike, gas, negligible costs. I mean, that was it. We're talking under $2 a day to get around the city, complete and total freedom. I mean, I was logging clicks too. I'm driving to Tao Dien to go out at night. I'm going to the bar street in Pham Viet Chan. I'm driving to the climbing gym. On the weekend, we might drive to Vung Tau. It's a terrible drive. I don't suggest you doing it at all. But hey, you got to do it once, right? Up the coast trips to Muine, wherever. Just total freedom of movement for $50 US a month. Now, not so much. Probably the biggest jump in my monthly costs was transportation. I went from having a motorbike that I bought for a few $100 off a coworker and drove around basically for free for years to taking 4 and 7-seater cars, air conditioned with baby seats everywhere. And the traffic is brutal. Even just to get the 2 or 3 kilometers away to go see my in-laws and visit grandma and grandpa, talking about being stuck in traffic for like an hour at peak rush hour times in Ho Chi Minh City just to get a couple of kilometers away. And if you're actually totaling up these costs, even though it's maybe $4 or $5 at a time to get a ride like this, by the end of the month, we were spending another $200 to $300 for transportation costs for us and our children. And what's the alternative? Well, you go local and you put all 4 kids on the motorbike, but then, maybe your kid's head gets smushed like a melon. But you do get what you pay for, and location, 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 as they say. Phu My Hung is everything you could imagine and more living in Ho Chi Minh City. It's not just the richest neighborhood in the country, it's also probably the most beautiful. You're going to see supercars, you're going to see like your neighbors with Cambodian plates on a Ferrari. That's real. There's people driving McLarens and Lexus and, anything else imaginable and beautiful. There's literally like Phu My Hung supercar dealerships. There's a gorgeous, clean, incredible mall. There's multiple parks that are like manicured, taken care of, and watched by private security. And it's one of the few places too where you're often going to be seeing traffic laws enforced. It's safer, quieter, cleaner, and just way more friendly and family approachable to anyone than District 1 or even District 2, Tao Dien, the other expat district. Tao Dien, there's a lot of floods, it's pretty crowded, and it's a little bit stinky. It is a nice place because there's a lot of those Western amenities, but for me, it just isn't quite as family oriented or friendly as District 7. And I think that's probably reflected in the demographics too. In Tao Dien, you see a lot of sort of younger teacher types, the 20-somethings, the digital nomads. In Phu My Hung in District 7, families. All of my neighbors are families. Korean families, Singaporean families, Taiwanese families. You see real sort of long-term expat people living and working at companies in Ho Chi Minh City. And finally, now we are getting to the biggest cost in real actual terms for expat family living in Ho Chi Minh City and in Vietnam, and that is education. So I used to work at a very good, respectable international school. I was an apartment head there, and part of the perks of a job like that, it's not just a great salary, health insurance, and money for your rent, it's that your kids get a free tuition waiver. And education in Vietnam for middle upper class Vietnamese people and for foreigners is one of the biggest costs. There are no price caps on education here. So you can expect to pay $200 to $500 for a preschool or daycare, maybe even $500 to $1,000 a month for an English language school, not an international school, just like a bilingual English language school with a native speaker teaching your kids. And if you want a real deal international school with an international curriculum, like the British curriculum or the IB or maybe doing the American stuff, you're talking 15 to 25,000 US dollars a year. $500 a week, folks. It is nuts. It's a totally unaffordable cost, and it is not at all equatable with the actual salaries and cost of living in this country. Let's just say these days, the ball cap, the t-shirt, the driving a motorbike, these days are long gone for me. And that's not necessarily to say the days of living on $800 a month in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam are gone. But for the vast majority of you watching in America, Australia, Canada, whatever, it's going to be a real struggle. I mean, for $300 a month, you can rent something, but they're not going to be what you're used to. And then you're going to be living on what's left over, $500 a month, so less than $20 a day. That's a struggle. I mean, probably $15 a day after you rent your motorbike. I don't think that's realistic. So maybe it is true, right? Maybe all those $500 a month videos where they're basically telling you you can live on 12.5 million dong. Yeah, that's tough. That's like student style lifestyle. And that's not actually living well for me anymore. So let's do the full back and forth breakdown. So how much does it actually cost to live as a family of 4 well in Ho Chi Minh City in 2025 in a nice, developed, beautiful, safe, clean, suburban area? For us, the costs had climbed all the way up to about 3,000 US dollars a month. That's right, 75 million dong. As you can see, those old days in 2019 of living on $800 a month are just not realistic for me anymore. It's not going to happen ever again. And let's take a look now. We'll put up the graphic on the screen and do the actual comparison. The 2019 versus the 2025 costs, and you can see just how much everything has grown for me. It's really like 3 to 4 times what I was originally paying to live in Ho Chi Minh City as a sort of solo traveler in District 1 Ben-Thanh backpacker lifestyle versus a real, like, having a home, having a house, having transport, having education, having healthcare, having all of those things. But if you want those amenities, you want that urban city, fast-paced, beautiful life, it is all there now. Ho Chi Minh City is developing. It's gorgeous. It's incredible. It's got everything you could possibly imagine. But for us, it just wasn't the same incredible deal it used to be. And that's why we made a change. There's a reason why I left that incredible job and we left Ho Chi Minh City. And that reason is that the cost of living in Da Nang and Central Coast is still way more affordable and way more approachable. So if you're interested in relocating or coming over to Vietnam yourself, whether it's to retire or live with your family, I am now doing one-on-one consultations. It's only a few spots a month. You can book through this QR code or the link in description. If the demand is there, I might expand to 12 hours a month. We'll see. For now, though, watch the next video from my cost of living abroad pod with our latest guests and hear about their cost of living in Vietnam. Or you can click up here